Like money, the financial system is something that we use pretty much every single day, but really don't think about all too often. And that just tells us that, hey, these things are working very efficiently. So let's go ahead and take a look at what the financial system does and the roles that it plays. The financial system helps allocate scarce resources from savers to borrowers. So we are the savers in this instance. We have money and we want to get some type of interest or get some type of return on it. So we're going to go ahead and put that into the bank. And then there are the borrowers who need some type of money to undertake some type of project. And that's exactly where they go to the banks and say, hey, please give me some money. I have a really great idea in mind. So here, the banks, these financial intermediaries, are going to take money from us, the savers, and then lend them out to borrowers. And it helps to match these two entities fairly well, very efficiently. So savers and borrowers are able to match up with each one another without any issues at all. And the banking system, the financial system, helps do this in a fairly efficient way. Imagine a world where if we didn't have a sort of good financial system. So that would make matching savers and borrowers with one another an extremely tedious and complex task. So let's go ahead and use a fairly simple example with all of this. Suppose that you are the saver and you have $10,000 and there is no financial system. So you're looking for somewhere to place your $10,000 in order to generate some type of return or interest for you. Then suppose that out of the blue, an acquaintance that you knew from high school just says, hey, I've heard that you have $10,000 and what a coincidence. I'm looking to open up my own new business and I think it's going to be a great place for you to invest in my business. So do you invest your $10,000 with this sort of individual that you only knew as an acquaintance in high school? And there's probably going to be a lot of different questions before you go ahead and give this person your $10,000. So the first question that probably pops up to your mind is, what type of business are you going to go ahead and open up? And let's go ahead and say that your friend is going to open up, say, maybe like a marijuana or vape store. So it's typically those type of people that always want this type of money. So let's go ahead and say that your friend or your acquaintance is going to open up this vape shop. So here, do you invest $10,000 into your acquaintance vape shop? And there are a few more questions that you want to ask before you go ahead and say no to him or her. So other questions that you might want to go ahead and ask is, when am I going to see a return on my money if I give you this? If I give you the $10,000, what is your business plan? What is your business strategy? What type of products are you going to be selling? Is it going to be sativa? Is it going to be indica? Is it going to be hybrid? Or can I partake in these particular products as well? So there's just a whole bunch of questions that you yourself have to put in the time and effort to make sure that your $10,000 is going to be put to its correct usage. And that's not something that you want to do by yourself because you have better things to do. And this is exactly why the financial system is going to be very, very helpful for us in this instance, because all we really have to do is put our money into the banks, and then the banks or the financial system itself is going to do all the sort of dirty work or all the tedious work and basically ensure that, yes, you are still going to have access to your own money. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at the financial system, its roles that it plays, and see exactly why we don't necessarily want for us ourselves individually to go ahead and take our $10,000 or our money to try to find someone that's going to generate us some type of return. So the financial system, under the financial system, there are these financial intermediaries, which are banks, mutual funds, and insurance companies, which acquires funds from savers and then lend them to borrowers. So here in this instance, we're putting our $10,000 into the bank or these financial intermediaries, and then the borrowers, i.e. our acquaintance in this instance, are going to go ahead and go to the bank and ask for the money in order to fund their own business. So let's go ahead and take a look at the three specific roles that these financial intermediaries or these financial institutions are going to play for us in order to facilitate the flow of funds to the economy. Number one, it's going to be reducing information costs. Number two, it's going to be reducing transactions costs. And number three, it's going to be diversifying assets to reduce risk. And these are the three roles that we don't really think about on an everyday basis, but they play a hugely, vastly important role in the financial system for us. So let's go ahead and take a look at number one, reducing information costs first. So what exactly are information costs? These are just going to be costs or expenses associated with gathering information on individual borrowers. Let's go ahead and take a look at these information costs. Information cost. So information cost is essentially like stalking in a sort of a layman's term. So here, these are expenses associated with gathering info on individual borrowers. gathering information on individual borrowers. So once again, information costs, expenses associated with gathering information on individual borrowers. So in this instance, who was the one that had to sort of do the vetting out process on your acquaintance, making sure that they were using your funds to its an appropriate use? It was you. So you're the one that has to make sure that your $10,000 is being used in a correct manner. It's you that has to make sure that your acquaintance is on the up and up, that he or she has no criminal record. He or she knows exactly what the business strategy is going to be. He or she that you know that he or she is going to be knowing exactly how to run a business. And these are very, very costly costs for you to endure. So you have to put in the time, you have to put in the effort, and that's not something that you necessarily want to do on your own. And this is exactly where the banks or these financial institutions come in, because they help to simplify and reduce these information costs by a whole lot. So essentially, the banks, these financial institutions, are the ones that are going to be enduring these information costs, because they are the ones that have to screen and evaluate the credit of potential borrowers. So basically, when you put money into the bank says, okay, we'll go ahead and reduce your information costs, make sure that your money goes to a borrower that's on the up and up, making sure that they have the appropriate credit, that they have a good business plan. So the bank is the one that is going to endure these information costs, and you don't have to do it yourself. So number one role that the financial institution is going to play is to help reduce the information costs, not just for you, but for every single sort of saver and borrower within the financial system. Number two, they're going to help reduce transactions costs. And this is going to be an additional type of cost that we need to go ahead and write down. So take a look at these transactions costs. Transactions cost. And transactions costs are going to tell us that these are costs associated with finding, selecting, and negotiating contracts between borrowers and savers. So costs associated with finding, selecting, and negotiating contracts between borrowers and savers. So in this instance, suppose that there are 100 of us and we have that same mutual acquaintance. And we want to say, hey, maybe this business plan is actually pretty good, and we want to each invest $10,000 into this acquaintance business. In order for us to have sort of a legal binding sort of contract, we actually need to have a contract with every single borrower, with every single saver that wants to invest in the business. So that entails, because there are 100 of us, 100 contracts between our mutual acquaintance and every single individual investor. And this is going to be a huge transactions cost, because there are 100 contracts for each and every single one of us. So that is going to once again lead to a lot of time, a lot of effort, in order for us to draw up these contracts for every single individual saver and every single individual sort of investor in this case. But once again, we're very lucky that we have a financial system, these financial intermediaries, in order to reduce these transactions costs. So what do these financial institutions provide to us? They provide standardized financial products. So basically, any financial product that we want to go ahead and take a look at, the bank is going to provide us with one single sort of contract, one single statement. All they really need to do is put on the date, put in your name, a few sort of identifying details, and basically you're good to go. Basically, if you want to open up a savings account, a checking account, if you want to invest in a particular sort of project, they have a contract for all of that. And basically, you just put in your standardized information, and this is going to help reduce transactions costs, because we no longer need 100 contracts between every single individual saver and borrower. We just need one form. We just put all the information onto it, we get it notarized, and you're good to go. So once again, reduces the time and effort associated with these transactions costs. And then finally here, rule number 3 is going to be diversifying assets to reduce risk. So it's actually very, very risky for you to put your entire investment into one project. So to put your $10,000, your entire investment into one project, very, very risky, because there's no guarantee that one particular project is going to be a success. There's a very big likelihood that it could be a failure. So what can banks do? They're going to go ahead and pull funds from many borrowers and then lend them to, they're going to pull funds from many savers and then lend them to many borrowers. So instead of you putting your $10,000 into one project, they're going to maybe take $1,000 from 10 different savers and then lend that $10,000 out to that one particular project. So essentially, as they spread the risk, as they call it in this instance, they are going to spread the risk among all the savers against all the borrowers, and that's going to help reduce all of your losses if there are going to be any losses. So in this instance, it's almost saying that you don't want to put all of your eggs into one basket. So it's basically saying that you're putting a few of your eggs in one basket and a few of your other eggs in another basket. And just in case something goes wrong, you're still going to have a few of your eggs because you have successfully diversified your risk. You have essentially basically reduced your risk by diversifying your particular assets in this case. So once again, these are the three main roles of the financial institutions that we see right here: reducing information costs, reducing transactions costs, and diversifying assets to reduce or spread your risk out. And once again, these are things that we don't really think about on an everyday basis, but we are thankful that we do have financial institutions and a financial system that works fairly efficiently in order to match borrowers and savers with one another. If we didn't have this financial system, that means we would ourselves have to bear these transactions costs, bear these information costs, and basically have to bear all of the risk with any one particular investment. So that $10,000 that we want to put into our acquaintance sort of vape or marijuana shop, it's not going to be a very, very good thing for us. So basically just put money into the banks and then we're going to be good to go in that case. With all of this in mind, we want to take a look at a few specific facets of the financial system. So where exactly can we put our money into? And that's where we take a look at the bond market and the stock market in the next few lectures. So we'll go ahead, stop for this particular section, and I'll see you guys in the next video.